Welcome to the Live Wildly podcast, a space where we explore how to live our wildest expressions while nourishing our hearts. Here, we cover all things motherhood, spirituality, health, wellness, and more. I'm your host, Olivia Ashley, a mama, intuitive, and seeker of a joyful, inspired life. Let's dare to live wildly. Hello, Live Wildly. This is your host, Olivia Ashley, and we're here for another week. And today feels special because I am going to be pulling cards, so an oracle deck cards for all of you. So my intention for today was that we would get guidance for the Live Wildly family around just some basic things. Like these are typical questions I ask when I look for guidance for myself. And it landed when I was on my walk today, thinking about what will this episode be? Or what do I want to talk about? What do we need to hear? And I had just come off a work meeting with a girlfriend. So I know you might be listening. Hello, Lindsay. Thank you for this idea in a way. And she was telling me about the tarot cards she was pulling and if I pulled cards. And I ended up sharing, like, yes, I just pulled some, trying to get an idea of what I was going to do for today. And so we went back and forth, and it just felt so supportive. And she was really excited. It made me excited. And I was like, okay, this is what we need to do today, because some of my favorite podcasts that I listen to are like Lee Harris, Natalie Miles, Tarot for the Wild Soul. And so a range of people who are giving energy updates and connections or channeling or tapping into the field, right? We are all a part of this bigger field, this energetic field. Listen really to any of my episodes previously if you're unsure what I'm talking about. The most recent one right before this is most relevant with Casey Stevens, can give some really grounded explanation around it. But we are always taking in, we're using perceptions, using our senses to feel, to perceive, to then process and ground really in our body. What is it that we're seeing, feeling, thinking? And I think some of us are just highly sensitive. I think we all have this ability to really recognize what's happening around us. We're all doing this always. So, like, you all have this ability. But then I think some of us, like myself and others who believe we are intuitives, we feel highly sensitive, that we have practice. I mean, this is a decade-long work for me to tap into that field, to exchange our energy, to what does that mean? What am I using our psychic senses that go beyond our five senses that we were taught as a kid? Like, these are real. Research has shown that these are real. So our hearing, our seeing, our knowing, our sensing, I'm missing one, but you all know what I'm talking about. And so it felt right to kind of ground us in today and just get a sense of what's going on for us who press play, who show up, who are part of this community. Just get some guidance, get some clarity, because I think it just sometimes help. I love to be a mirror for people. What are you moving through? I can kind of reflect it back. And that's how I see oracle cards kind of working. I definitely try to mix the spiritual with the science of it all. Sometimes I want to just be like, oh, it's purely spiritual. I'm just channeling, I'm connecting. I think that's an aspect. And then there's the reality of, like, we know in research and in science that the phenomenon of we start thinking about we want to get a yellow car. And so we start seeing the yellow car, and now it's starting to show up everywhere. And there's a term for it, of what that is happening in our brain that causes that effect. And so we know, like, when we start thinking about something, it draws towards us. And so you can also think of like homeopathy, the like for the like, and also just like the law of attraction in the universe of, again, energy begets energy, and what we think, feel, the frequency that we vibrate at attracts the similar pieces to us, no matter where you are on that spectrum. So I try to stay really open. So I can feel that there's hesitation, there's turnoff from doing oracle decks or like channeling message. I think our culture has really dampened the power that we have inherent in us, the power, the knowing that we are these creators, we are stardust, we are capable of connecting to this field and have these knowings. And some of us do it at a much different level than others. And that can kind of feel scary sometimes to say, I don't see it, it's not real, right? But I really come from the fact of Oracle cards, channeling, intuition, energy work. A lot of that is really rooted in our want to feel better, our want to heal, our want to have greater understanding, our want to better ourselves, love ourselves more. And so when you come from that space, I like to just feel like this is a co-creation with myself. This is a conversation that I'm having with myself. I'm connecting, I'm asking for guidance from myself, from my highest self, from my guides. I always set intention. My attention creates intention. And then I create this beautiful container. So that's what I did before I pulled these cards for us. And I want to just preface it with that. Like, this is fun. This is supportive, right? That's my intentions. You can take what you want to leave the rest. But I think Oracle cards are such a beautiful mirror for us to get clarity, to get understanding, to see what we're working with, what we're moving through, because we're picking from our energy, we're feeling, right? We stopped at that card for a reason. And so really trusting what came through and then connecting to yourself, whatever comes forward, just immediately that sense, that feeling, that knowing, that seeing, any of those things that it brings forward, trusting that that's the message, right? We don't have to overthink it. We don't have to pick it apart. We just say, okay, thank you. You just gave me a new perspective that maybe I was struggling to understand. And so cards can just be really supportive on that level. So, to start us off, I just want to preface that again. This is just for our highest good for those who press play. This is relevant to any time. So maybe you're listening to this when it first came out. Maybe you're listening to it 6 months or a year or years later. Just know if you were drawn to this episode that there is something here for you and it's timeless. We can move beyond time and space and note that this is a supportive container and really just here to spark your curiosity. So I will run through these cards. I will give you the prompt that I asked and then run through the cards. I might share some personal anecdotes around what's coming up for me or how I see this, but I'm going to try and keep this more to a collective understanding. So take a deep breath, take a moment to ground yourself, just get in your heart. Let all the burdens, anxieties, worries that maybe you walked into start to fade away. There's nothing for you to do. All you need to do is listen, get in your body, notice what comes up as I'm speaking. Maybe you want to take some notes or jot it down. But this is just going to be a supportive, fun container around the energy and what we're moving through as a Live Wildly collective. And so the deck that I decided to use today, I have not touched in at least a year. And I'm so excited because I've missed this deck. And it is the Spirit Animal Oracle from Colette Baron Reed. And so there's this beautiful deer all decorated with flowers and feathers on the front. And I really, really do enjoy this guidebook. This was one of my first ones that I branched out into when I was exploring Oracle decks. And I would just highly recommend. I think Colette did a fantastic job channeling the information, and I have found it very relevant and very supportive. And I love animals. And I think animals, if you're new to Oracle decks, an animal deck is one of my favorite go-to first intro. You know, we all know animals. We grew up learning about animals. We're grabbing the energy and the spirit of these animals and their wisdom that's coming through. And so I feel like it's kind of a neutral intro of sorts, or even if you were long lasting, like I love animals, but I'd say it feels a little less overwhelming when you're starting versus a tarot deck or an angel deck or a starseed deck, right? Like that gets a little bit more into the realms, which is fun to dance with, and maybe you're already there. But I would just recommend an animal deck always as my first go-to if you're new to this space. So our first question today is, what is the energy we are feeling and being affected by right now? And so the card I pulled was Grasshopper, which says, take a leap of faith. And so immediately it just felt like we're being asked to get ready. I almost feel like we're not fully jumping. We're not fully jumping for that leap of faith, but we are preparing to make that leap of faith. We are getting clarity. We are shedding, we are removing some pieces of ourselves that maybe we thought we worked with or we've dampened down really deep. And it's this big collective time to allow these bubbles to start to come forward, especially because we're preparing for something in our near future. It feels very close. It feels within the next month to within this year that this leap of faith is connected to. It is asking us to reach for our potential, to really potentiate ourselves and say, I am worthy, I am capable, I am curious, I am courageous, I am poised to jump to this next level. And I know that in my heart and in my soul. It's really for me this feeling sense like you are held, you are supported, that we need to, though, on the flip side of this, remove our bad habits, remove the things that are holding us back. Maybe we procrastinate, maybe we scroll, maybe we binge eat, maybe we, just don't take care of ourselves or be like, that's for another day. We're comfortable. And to take a leap of faith means you have to kind of let go of some baggage to really jump and be ready and kind of have a foundation. So, as much as we have to let go of things, we also need to kind of build that foundation, right? That preparation. Do we have things somewhat in order? Are we on the level we think we will be when we are reaching and we are attaining towards that? And so part of that also is letting go of fears. And really, I see fear is courage waiting to be unleashed. If you can look at it with that mind frame and start to shift your perspective of fears, we should really be paying attention to them because those are the things that we should be tackling and moving through and pushing ourselves to go towards. And it's not to say, oh, I'm afraid of snakes, so I'm going to go like touch all the snakes. No, but there's a wisdom there, right? There's a root there. Why is that? What is that holding you back from? Because to be our most boundless, unbounded selves and to step into the space that if you're here listening, like you are deep on this journey. We are here doing this work and here to be our best selves in our own unique ways. That doesn't mean XYZ. Societal expectations are exactly what you're reaching for. You know what you are reaching for. You know what this means for you. And so letting yourself really feel worthy and be ready and release those fears that start to kind of just fester, right? If we just sit and we were fearful our entire lives, we wouldn't do anything different. We wouldn't change our life. We wouldn't get uncomfortable. We just kind of stay. And what's funny about that, though, is when you look at those people or see those paths that have been taken, those are some of the most unhappy, uncomfortable folks I've ever met. And so there's this connection between knowing your fear and then moving past them and that momentum that starts to build or that willingness to dance with it even if it never fully resolves. But I think more around this, it's making me think of fear related to your potential. What are those fears that are holding you back from reaching towards that next step or that next place you want to go? And how can you begin to face them in preparation for when you take that leap? Because that leap is coming. That leap is right on the other side of us. And it feels really important. And I want to note that on this card, the grasshopper is wearing a crown. And I really see that as us needing to crown ourselves, to kind of ordain ourselves in this wisdom, in this knowing that we are worthy and we are capable and we are the queen or king of our life, if we can look at it in that perspective. And it's that kind of that acceptance and that firming of ourselves when we put that crown on ourselves to say, whoa, I really am worthy. I'm really am embodied. I am capable, courageous, all those things I listed off. And can I listen to myself? Can I trust myself and note that I'm going to make mistakes, that I'm going to try something, it's not going to work the way I thought, but I'm going to learn from that. And that's what courage is, right? Being willing to fail, to face fears, to make mistakes and try again. And so knowing that we are poised to take a leap of faith and it's a multiple leaping of faiths in a way. There will be multiple leaps that are had in this process, but that is the energy we are feeling and being affected by right now. So we're all kind of feeling that prep, that this leap is coming. We're running up to get ready to leap. And so, what's your foundation? What are your fears? What potential are you really reaching for? And what does that feel like in your body? And can you start embodying that affirmations, that knowing? I love Joe Dispenza's work, Mimi Bouchard. It's so powerful when you start to tap into yourself and into your self-worth. And we need reminders. Our brain starts to just go back to its normal habits. So having consistency in your days, like visualizations, and it doesn't have to be long. But if you do this one time a day for 5 to 20 minutes a day, your life will change because of frequency, and what you're sitting at is completely different. And again, how we started, that like attracts like. Your energy attracts what you're giving off. And so your life will start to align because it has no other choice but to. So that might mean things get removed. That might mean new opportunities come forward, relationships end, relationships begin, right? Just take awareness. Like, this is the energy and where we are sitting right now as this group of beautiful humans navigating life at this moment. The second question, which is related to this first that I asked, is what is it teaching us? So, what is this energy of taking a leap of faith teaching us? And I pulled the scarab beetle, which says magic works through you. And I just feel like that's so potent and so right on line with everything we just said. So it's teaching us that magic works through us. We are in this 3D, 5D. I'm going to say that we are functioning in the 5D reality, but we are this physical plane. But we get to tap, we get to reach, we get to feel, we get to know we are connected, we are supported. That magic is truly here. That spiralic feeling of energy, just like that torsion field, right? Like, it's so connected and so much more simple and yet complex, right, than we think. And so magic and creativity are your legacy. That is what moves us here. That is the purpose. As I see it from my standpoint, creativity and the openness to magical thinking. And to me, that's really like magic is our power, is our innate knowing, is that gift inside ourselves where we get to have fun, we get to dance, we get to play. Like, it was so funny. Last night, I threw up my puppy's toy. Like, I was just kind of playing with him, threw it up in the air to be silly, like, ha. And he didn't even move, and it perfectly landed, balanced on his snout. And we just sat there and stared at each other like, what just happened? And then he like kicked it off. And I laughed. I laughed at the simplicity and how beautiful that was. Like, I didn't even try, but that's what happened. I perfectly threw it so it landed and it balanced right on his snout. And that is magic to me. Like, those are like the mundane moments of magic. And then, right, there's that scale of I'm manifesting, I'm calling things forward, I am asking for things, I'm looking for signs, I'm speaking with intentionality. And then that magic is that what we are creating within, but then it's the cauldron, right? So we are adding those pieces. We get to decide the affirmations, the meditations, the yoga, the journaling, like the reading. What do we expose ourselves to day in and day out? That's all going in our cauldron from our standpoint. That's what we get to add: our thinking, our thoughts, our sayings, our doings, our actions. And then there's this universal perspective of magic that's getting brought into this cauldron. And so there's this mixing and this intention and this beauty. And we don't always know what that's going to be. And yet we get to sit and trust that there's infinite potential, that we can really create and have whatever we want. But we also live in this physical reality. So we have to understand patience. We have to understand time in a way that we get to show up and choose each day. And then the rest we have to somewhat let go of. And so the scarab and that magic and what's that teaching us, it really also highlights like doubt. Where in our life are we doubting ourselves? Where are we holding ourselves back? What is that relationship with doubt, with worth, with even like self-respect and responsibility? And how is that holding us back and or starving us of that magic feeling? I think what is so interesting is as a culture, we read fantasy, right? We watch Harry Potter, we watch these things that like as a child, we all just love, like, we are so entranced and connected and curious. Like, it lights us up, this thinking of we could wave a wand and create magic. But it is like this disillusionment that comes because we then learn, no, that's not true. That's not real reality. We can't wave a wand and magical sparks come out and we levitate things. And I think that does us a disservice because it makes us feel like magic is only that, where magic is truthfully inherent in our being. It is inherent within ourselves. Again, it's our words, it's our thoughts, it's our creation, it's our actions. And all of us have that. That is within all of us. And that's truth. And that is grounded and that is power. And so it's just rethinking kind of what does that magic mean for you and how does that show up in your life? And then starting to work and play and find joy. But you have to remove those levels of doubt or those connections of what magic, quote unquote, means for you to find that within you. And we need the magic to help us take that leap, right? We want to feel strong and powerful and like we know where we're going. And so, again, it ties into those doubts and those fears and those worries. Like the magic and the creativity and that preparation for this leap of faith brings resilience, it brings innovation, it brings new ideas, it brings support for ourselves. Maybe it draws in community. And so knowing that like we are magical beings, I will go to bat for that. Like truly, we are magical beings. We are powerful beings. And so it's teaching us to open up that energy, open up and accept this knowing and accept how we're feeling and our ability to reach and identify the potential within ourselves that we're going to. And how do we invite more creativity? How do we invite more that empowerment, that embodied self, that vision that truly, again, is our legacy into our life? And the third question that I asked is how can we support ourselves right now? So we're moving through big things. There's a lot of big energy. We're facing shadow. We are stirring our cauldron. We are deciding what we're adding, what we're taking out, what we want to feel like, what we're heading towards. And so, how do we support ourselves through this time? And I pulled Dragonfly, which says, truth transcends illusion. And so it's really this knowing that truth is inherent within each of us. We all might have a different perspective of truth, but that universal truth, that nature's truth, like that is true. We have things that we can really feel and know and expect and understand. But we have to also identify our illusions. So our illusions being the falsities, the things maybe like the Maya, right? The illusionary aspects of this world, what we're taught, what isn't always actually truth, what history we're told isn't always actually the true history. It's the hero's history, right? Like there's so many layers of this. Throw a dart, pick a topic, there's illusion, there's truth. And who's to say what is what? It's all perspective. But I think with data, with experiential learning, you can start to find your truth. But this is asking us to kind of become friends with our illusions, become friends with that shadow, become friends with that unconscious that is probably not allowing us to step forward, to prepare, that is kind of holding us back. It's keeping us from being present. It's keeping our mind in the future, maybe in the past. Maybe we're stuck in the perspective of my life is chaotic, my life is hard, I'm angry, whatever that is you're feeling, I'm struggling, I'm suffering, this is hard. Like there's truth in that. Acknowledge that. That is a true feeling that you are having, and that does not discount the reality of what you're facing or what you're moving through. And yet there's also perspective that you get to say, okay, I see this as hard. I know I am suffering and this is not well. I don't feel good. But then you get to go, why? Why is that? What is that root? And I want to start to shift that. I don't want to keep suffering. I don't want to keep feeling challenged. I don't want to keep feeling my grief and all these things. You will, right? We're human, it's going to come and go. But can you kind of see the higher truth in what you're facing? See the higher truth in perspective and hope and gratitude and understanding and acceptance, right? Can we accept these illusions? Can we accept the suffering, the falsities, the struggles that we are moving through to help us move beyond? And that's kind of what it feels like. How can we support ourselves? How can we support ourselves move beyond the reality of our lives at this moment? We have beautiful lives. I want to say that. Like, I really do love my life. I look around and I'm like, holy moly, this is so cool. Look what I've created. Look how far I've come. Look where I'm sitting, confidence, all those things. And yet, I still don't feel great. I still know there's something more and something beyond this space that I've been calling forward for my whole entire life. And I don't know how that's going to come or in what ways that's going to look like, but we have to identify and get really comfortable saying, just because I'm outgrowing this, or just because I'm facing this challenge or moving through this hard thing, doesn't mean it's always going to be this way. And we have to accept and be able to see that new step, that new place, that growth that's going to happen as we move through it, that potential that is coming forward because we are moving through that. And so really focusing on that truth and that presence, we have to be present. Transformation happens in the present. It isn't something that, oh, it's coming. Transformation's coming. Like, oh, we are in the thick of it. We are transforming probably every moment, but some of us, we go through those big transformations, right? That we can look back on and go, whoa, that was hard. But we have to stay present. We have to be here. We have to move through the storm. The rainbow comes, it always does. And then another storm might come. But how do we dance with these hidden realms? How do we dance with this discomfort and still find that wisdom and that truth that is in there as well? Because that allows us to really transcend, right? We get to transcend that transfiguration. Things shift, things alchemize, things change, and truth is always at that foundation of those pieces. And on this card, there's also a flower in bloom. And so it really feels like spring, summer, blooming is coming, but we are still in that preparatory phase. And so we're moving through that muck, right? We are that flower. We are growing, we are doing that, but we are still moving through the murky water, moving through the muddy dirt. And so it's like this cleansing that needs to happen, this discomfort, this tightness, this space of murkiness, this space of mistiness, of we can't really see where we're headed, but we know within ourselves we are strong and we are bold and we are doing what we need to do to bloom when that time comes, noting that is also a season, right? We don't bloom forever. We move through seasons. And that's probably one of the biggest things we have to come to grasps with and make acceptance and peace and find joy within, that we are ever changing, ever evolving, and truth and our illusions are core to this human experience in this life. Okay, so to help us through all this, my next question is, what needs to be released? And what came forward is the crow, which says, co-create with spirit. And I loved that because it was so online with everything we just kind of talked about, this co-creation. But then we asked, what needs to be released? And to me, it's not we need to release the co creation with spirit. We need to release the reins and our stuckness, thinking that we are in this on our own, that we have to push, we have to, persevere and just push up against this and do it all by ourselves. When in reality, we are supported beyond what we could even imagine within this realm, within the higher realms, the etheric realms, the interdimensional realms. There is, star realms. Like, there is so much support and guidance available to us. And we are always co creating, right? That magic, those signs, that synchronicity, that meaning, that frequency, all of this is related. And we need to release where we are getting stuck, right? Where we are stuck in that challenge, in that cycle of thinking, that procrastination, and begin to embody our truth, embody like, I am safe right now. I am enough right now. I have everything I need and everything I need will always be there. And I just keep thinking of this word safety because I think that's such a core primal place that a lot of us have woundings in, that we are fearful to be alone. We'll be left. What if they leave me? What if I don't have my needs met? What if? And to me, this feels like to be able to get ready to take that leap of faith, to learn what it's teaching us, to support ourselves. We must release this idea that we are doing this alone. And that also means we are not alone in this physical. There are people, there's support, there's community, there are those on your level, right? Not everyone needs to be on your corner. You need to have those folks that understand you, that see you for who you are, who lift you up, who are true in their true selves, and they're truly capable of that support and that reflection and that, like, yes, you go, girl, you got this, right? That's what we need to call in. And that's all we need. We don't need a ton. We just need some respect, and we need some people who get us, who see us, who let us move through our struggles, who let us fall apart, help us pull ourselves back together. And so it's both here in the physical, through people, through animals, through elements, right? And then it's also in those more spiritual, higher realms, our ancestors, our guides, our star families that can come through and support. I really connect crow to our ancestors. So I will say that here, that it feels like this idea that, they pass on and then they're gone and we can't connect. We hope they're okay, needs to kind of be released. And the understanding and invitation, if this feels right for you, again, this is my belief system, that we can call them forward and use them as allies and ask for support and help and guidance and signs and clarity, because like we come from a deep, rich ancestral line. So maybe it's finding where physically you come from and learning some about that culture more, or going to that land and understanding that place. Maybe it's learning about herbs and the ancestral herbs and what they would use and how they would use them, or folklore, creating just this beautiful container of vibrancy in your life. That, again, this life is magical if we want it to be. It doesn't have to be. You can say, no, that's not really for me, and that's okay. But I truly think at its core, we are here to experience the magic. But sadly, I think a lot of us don't get to, because we just don't believe in that, or think that's, again, like oh, that's in Harry Potter land. This isn't in real life. And yet, the experiences I've had and the support I've given and the signs I've received and the magic that has unfolded in my life tells me, there's something more, but that's my experience. And so we all get to have our own. And I really just want to end this one with the crow spirit around, again, that attention creates intention. We don't have to go at it alone, and we get to decide where our focus is. So releasing those bad habits, those procrastinations, and just trying to get clearer and trying to zoom in out of this logical mind, out of this mental thinking, and this, I just see like butting heads, like the rams just butting heads, trying to think ourselves out of situations. And can we kind of release and accept that things are being co-created, that we don't have to go at it alone, and where our focus is really what's going to be bringing things towards us. So checking in with ourselves to say, where is my focus? What am I focusing on? What am I not focusing on? Am I stuck in the suffering? Am I stuck in the hurt? Am I stuck in the pain? Or am I inviting potential, like taking leaps of faith, of learning new things, of exploring new things, of new realms, of just, what's that curiosity for you? Can you bring in curiosity? Can you bring in play, joy, expansion, like looking at people who are living the life that like light you up, that you look at them and go, whoa, that's so cool. I wish I had that. Those are nuggets of your inner self and of your soul going, there's something there for you. Start to look into that, start to feel into that. And then how do you begin to align your life in this moment, specifically internally? And so I haven't brought this up, but it feels like a lot of what we are all moving through is this internal reflection, this internal churning, that oftentimes we quickly go, oh, the problem is in my external. The problem is I don't have that house or that job or that thing or that life or that feeling. And when I get that, then I am okay, I'm safe, I'm happy, I've done it, I've reached it. When in reality, all that external is just like the fun manifestation of the work we do within ourselves, so the work we do and take action on within our own personal lives and within this realm. And it starts with us. And so a lot of the energy and what this is pertaining to is this deeper internal work. Can we co-create internally with ourselves, even, right? Both with spirit, but also ourselves, and allow that to move us, allow that to be enough. Because when we can find the truth within ourselves, when we can feel embodied and safe and okay, then we get to explore. Then we have resources to manifest or choose what we want this external life to look at. But we have to start with us, because if we don't, it's rather misguided. And then we get all those things and we go, but we're still empty. We're still in pain. We're still suffering inside. And so we have to start with our internal side first. And so having this invitation to co-create with yourself, co-create with whatever realm or whatever you want that to be in your life is the focus right now. And the last message today that I pulled and asked was, overall, what is the message from our highest selves? What's the reminder that we need to have? And I pulled Bobcat, which says, life is a mystery. And I think that culminates a lot of what we've talked about. Life is a mystery. It is a journey. We must be present and just live. So much of us, and I do it myself, want to know what's coming, what's happening, what are we preparing for? Where is that leap of faith going to happen, right? What are these things that are coming up for us? I want to know. I just want to understand, right? Look at our culture. All we do is pick things apart to its base level and go, okay, I understand this singular thing. And so now I know it all. When in reality, it's like, whoa, first off, there's a holistic perspective that's being missed. And then there's this realization that there is this grander force and this grander pieces at play, which is this grand mystery of life as it unfolds, as our life path, as we choose things, not choose things, feel things, not feel things, right? It all co-creates. And then we have this universal, and when I think of as like a soul contract type piece that wants us to experience or to change or to have what it is to become who we are. But it's all unfolding in this perfect timing. That's what I really feel is Bobcat is here to invite us into this beautiful space of abundance, of balance, of between the material and the spiritual, and really just providing this like certainty that we can expect life is a mystery. So can we just settle into what we know right now and just welcome what comes, right? We can set intentions. We would like to have an easeful, joyful life, knowing we get hardships and we will navigate that. But if your perspective and your understanding is, this is there's purpose. There's purpose through pain, there's purpose through challenge. And it does not, right? I think there's always that other argument of, so you would say there's purpose in someone dying and purpose in loss and purpose in some massive, right? Massive, really terrible, terrible things, war, right? Look at what's going on. And there is not purpose in that loss necessarily, right? I think that is sad and that is terrible and it is awful and there's atrocities happen. And I don't want to look for the purpose in there. I just don't. It's not necessary. But here's what it also is teaching us is it's teaching us to stand up, to use our voice, to change our lives for the better because we witness this pain, we witness this grief, we had to move through this, and yet we're still here. And so, what is our role in that? What is the magic that we get to create outside of that to help others, to be an advocate for others, to, fund, research into whatever the area that we feel like we need? And so, it's this dualistic dance that some of these terrible, terrible things allow some of the most amazing, beautiful things. And that's the perspective I see. And so Bobcat also is the number 8 card in this deck. And that made me look up, what is 8? And I think we are in an 8 year for in numerology. And so H is infinity sign, right? That balance between material and spiritual, like I said, trying to find the balance between the logic and the heart. So moving into that in between space of we are smart and we can think, but we also can feel and understand, and knowing that there's also this gray, there's this in between, there's a lot more that we're constantly flowing through this life and through this dance of living. And yet knowing that it's just a mystery kind of lets me relax a little bit. I don't know if it does that for you. It lets me take a step back and go, okay, I know the universe has my back. I know I have my back. I know my loved ones have my back, my friends, my community. And so I'm going to let go of these reins a little bit. I'm not going to push so hard. I'm not going to force things so much. I can be gentle. I can be quiet. I can be discerning. I can let my logic take a rest and take a back seat and go, the mystery will reveal itself. It always does, right? Hindsight's a bitch, is what I used to say. I love hindsight now. I think it's the most beautiful thing. You get to reflect and learn and move forward in new ways from it. And so, while I'd say the overall message doesn't give us a clear picture, right? Like pure clarity around what it is that we need to remember and like what we're moving towards, but it gives us acceptance. It gives us a space to say, I can let go a little bit. I can accept where I'm at and what I'm moving forward. I don't have to push or freak out or worry like the why, the how, the when. That is life's job. That's life's job. I get to choose how I show up day in and day out, what I think about, where I put my intention, what I say, what I do, create magic, bring forward creativity, bring forward love, right? We get to choose our expressions as we're moving through it. And it really overall just feels like what lights you up, what makes you come alive, and follow that path, follow that feeling, follow that knowing, that wisdom, that inherent spark. Like if you were to listen to a song that just like jazzes you up, that like, whoa, I'm in body, I'm ready to go. Like if you think of the football players like getting really amped up before they run into the field, that feeling, we all get to have that feeling, but different things create that feeling in us. And so identifying what that is in your life that does that for you, and how can you start to channel that a little bit more into your life in preparation for that leap of faith and preparation to continue to co-create, to bring forward magic, because like that's the feeling that moves mountains. That's the feeling that allows shifts to truly happen in your life when you have that momentum, that push, that understanding and that drive, but that clarity, right? It brings clarity. It truly does. It brings momentum. It brings happiness. It brings this just feeling of like, whoa, I'm bountiful, I'm beautiful, I'm radiant, I'm capable, I'm courageous. And so what is that for you? Okay. I think that was hopefully supportive. I just want to say thank you for bearing with me and going through those questions. And I am so curious what you're moving through. So I can identify and reflect on these cards and these things that we talked about and see how they land and where I can kind of take some action and clarify some things. But I would love to hear if you have any feedback around what this felt like, if anything was really resonating with you or not even of, what did this feel like? Because we are here for it. Live Wildly is moving mountains. We are gonna be the ones, the shakers, the earthquakers, the ones who say, I'm not okay with this status quo. I'm not okay with living a life that just feels monotonous, uncomfortable, and in suffering. I'm here to be healthy, to be well, to be my best self, to show up, to parent well, to love each other, to create community. Those are my intention. Those are the roads I'm paving and the roads I'm creating. And so I'm so happy you're here for it. But note that we dance in this in between. We are those seers that bridge, those keepers of this light and of this wisdom and of this power that is inherent within us. And We have to share it more. We don't need to go sing. We don't need to yell. We just need to share and embody it from our hearts, knowing that our energy affects so many around us. When we walk through spaces, when we have a random conversation, the places we work, how we parent our kids with our intimate partners, this really does ripple. We are creating ripples out from ourselves. And that's something that I think when I reflect on these cards is asking us to really live a magical full life, to live a powerful embodied life, to live from heart and logic and balance and confidence and courage and freaking go for the life that we truly want, knowing right now we are living that life, right? We have gone to this point, we have done this work, we are on this journey. It is a lifelong journey. We have got this. We are doing well. We are amazing. Give yourself grace, give yourself space, give yourself love. And I'm here for you. I'm rooting for you. I've got your back. You've got mine. And I'm really excited to see what this year and what comes forward, what leaps of faith that we take, what magic we bring, what we co-create with ourselves and with spirit and around us. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here for you. This is for you, right? I can bring forward these themes, I can bring forward this information, but this is really just a channel from my heart to yours. It's all of our collective energy coming forward and coming together. So thank you. I appreciate you. I adore you. I wish you the very best, and I will be back with another episode in 2 weeks. So if you have any questions, reach out. DM me. If you're enjoying this podcast, share with a friend, a family member, anyone you think that this could be supportive of. And if you really like it and enjoy it, please think about leaving a rate and review on Apple Podcasts, as again, this just goes a long way, helps us share this platform and this community that we're building. And I so appreciate it. So, sending you all very good, healthy vibes and wish you well. And we'll talk soon.